Oh, there we go. All right, welcome to yoga. Okay, so today we are going to just do a nice light stretch, maybe a little bit of strength put in there because it's me. Okay, so we're going to start, but we're going to start by standing up, okay? I know that's not how we usually start, but we're going to start standing up. And what I want you to do is really think about the foundations, okay? So you're going to really think about those four corners of the feet. So the pinky edge side, where the big toes are, and then the back two edges of the heel. I just want you to really think about planting yourself down. So maybe at this point, just lifting up the toes, taking the weight into the heels, stretch through those, I want to call them fingers, through the toes, stretch them out, and then place them back down. See if you can do one by one. Really feel the pads of the toes push down into the mat. And then begin to draw those toes in. So almost crunch those toes in, lifting up through the knuckles of the toes, and then allow them to stretch back out again. And just spend a moment or two just playing around with the feet, noticing where the body weight is, noticing that weight in the heels, maybe rocking forward just a little bit, and just feeling into that foundation. Everything we do in yoga is about the foundation, our connection. Okay, so from here, we're just going to come into an active standing pose. So really thinking about growing tall through the crown of the head. We're going to engage through the quads, okay, nice and strong. We're going to just tuck under the tailbone. Take a breath here, inhale, grow tall, and then exhale and just find that heaviness. So the connection through the legs, connection through the feet, that weight through the heels. And then just take the shoulders up towards the ears, taking that inhale in and that exhale, roll the shoulders back and down. Okay, I'm going to do that one again. So take that inhale, bring the shoulders up towards the ears, and then send those shoulders away, pushing the chest forward and squeezing those shoulder blades behind you. And just take a couple more here. And then when you're ready, just reversing it. So sending the shoulder blades back, squeeze them together, and then roll those shoulders forward. Noticing just how much space you have in that shoulder space. So what normally happens is we start our day nice and relaxed, and then gradually throughout the day, through your work, through the kids, through animals, all kinds of things, you'll start to lift those shoulders up. And by the time you go to bed, you're probably pretty tense. So just finding that space, finding that relaxing feeling of bringing that gap between the ears and the shoulders. Okay, so I'm just going to invite you here just to either close off the eyes or just soften the gaze down. Okay, so thinking here about the neck being nice and long, maybe bringing gaze down towards the floor, whatever's comfortable for you. And then again, if you want to take the hand to the belly, hand to the chest, you can breathe into it, or you can just keep the hands down by the sides of you. If you want to close off the eyes, you might always want to use your hand just to balance on something, just to keep yourself nice and stable. But we're going to start with our even breathing, okay? So here we go. Let's take an inhale for the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take an inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Allowing your breath to return to the pattern it usually sits in. Noticing what's happened to the body. Perhaps you're swaying a little bit. Perhaps you're spreading that weight between left foot and right foot. Maybe you're beginning to roll those shoulders forward, almost that heaviness in the front body. Whilst your eyes are closed or soften through the gaze, just see if you can focus in on an intention for today. Doesn't matter what it is, just about being here. And then when you're ready, begin to open up the eyes. Nice. Let's take an inhale, bring the arms nice and high, reaching up out of the waist and spread through those fingertips. Think about lifting the body. Start to open through the throat, lift the chin up towards the ceiling, take control through the neck. Take another inhale, grow taller still. And then on the exhale, we're going to bring the arms over to the right side. Really push that right foot deep into the mat, okay? We want to send the hips over to the left. So the action of pushing that right foot down means that those hips can move further over to the left. The arms are going to reach over to the right-hand side. We want to keep both shoulders level. So rather than reaching forward, we want to be nice and open through the front body. Keeping the breath in nice, smooth and even waves. And then bringing it back to center. And we're just going to shake those arms out. So taking them down, taking them up, release through the shoulder, nice freeing movement. And then when you're ready, take those arms high again. Okay. And then from this side, we're going to take the arms over to the left side, push that left foot deep into the floor, send the hips over to the right side. Again, keeping those hips level, keeping the chest open, keeping those shoulders nice and level too. Really try and resist the urge to bring that right shoulder forward, but keeping it nice and back. And then taking that inhale, as you inhale, can you find just a little bit more length? It's a question, you don't have to do it, see what you can explore. Still pushing that left foot down into the mat. And then when you're ready, we're coming back up to center and then shake those arms out again, make it feel nice through the shoulders. Okay. All right, from here, we're going to take a forward fold. So folding from the hips or folding from the waist, I'm going to encourage you to take a deep bend into the knees here. By doing that, we can really tilt through the pelvis, which means that we can really find that stretch down the back of the hamstrings. So taking a forward fold here, allow the head to hang heavy, grabbing hold of opposite elbows so you can start to take that nice little sway to release through the lower back. Okay, so from here, taking that nice sway side to side, and then when you come back to center, perhaps you can begin to take the weight into the toes. Keep your balance. If you need to put your hands down, do. And then take the weight back into the heels, noticing how it plays around with the stretches that you're starting to feel. And then maybe you can just rock backwards and forwards through the feet, really noticing that connection that you're feeling to the foundations, to the earth. And then stop, pause, come back to a nice equal footing, and then swap that elbow grip out again. Again, foot for the first time. So swap that elbow grip out and then start to sway again from side to side. And then nod the head yes and shake the head no. Find this really freeing movement, really releasing. Lovely. And then when you're ready, just pausing. What we're going to do now is just take the hands to the back of the head, interlace the fingers behind the head, and then really gradually, one by one, see if you can stack each vertebrae to come back up to standing. There's no rush. Take your time here. Okay, and then when you come back up, we're going to start to open out those elbows, okay? So here we should start to feel it into the shoulders. So squeezing those shoulder blades together. And then we're going to start to take that right elbow down towards the right side. Again, same principle as before. We're going to push that right foot into the mat and then start to come over. Left elbow heading up roughly towards the ceiling, right elbow coming down. And then bringing it all the way back up to standing. And then you've guessed it, we're coming back on the other side now. So left elbow down, right elbow points up, pushing that left foot into the mat, right hips head towards the right side. Really nice and strong in your foundations. And then inhale, come back up again. Super. From here, we're going to take those elbows in towards one another, tuck chin towards chest, find that stretch to begin with down the back of the neck. And then take an inhale. And then on your exhale, start to stack each vertebrae as you come all the way down to your forward fold. Always taking a soft knee, okay, just finding that nice release into the knees, and then hinging from the hips, drawing the belly in, and then finding your forward fold. Okay, releasing those hands off, allow them to hang nice and heavy. And then when you're ready, connect those hands to the mat, okay? We're going to connect those hands to the mat. And then from here, we're going to start to lift that left arm. We're going to start to straighten that right leg, and we're going to come into a twist. Okay, so the right hand pushes down, the right leg is bent, the left leg is straight. I'm sorry if I got that muddled up. Left arm is lifting. Come into a twist here, and then begin to look up towards the ceiling if you've got space for it in your neck. Maybe that left hand comes all the way round to touch the top of that right thigh, to then just roll that left shoulder back just a little bit, just opening a little bit more through the chest, through the shoulder. And then see here if you can plant that weight further back into the heels, thinking about sending that bottom back just a little bit more. It's going to start to switch on that stretch just a little bit more. Should play that bingo, shouldn't we? How many times can I say that? Okay, from here, coming back around to center. Nice. And then we're going to swap out. So taking that left hand down, the right arm is going to lift. And as it does, the right leg straightens, the left leg bends, lifting through that right arm, gazing up towards the ceiling if you can. And then if you've got more space and it feels comfortable, take that right hand to wrap it all the way round to touch the top of that left thigh, and then open a little bit more through that right shoulder. Okay, so starting to take the weight back into the heels, starting to push the bottom back. Lovely. And then coming all the way back through center. And then we're going to take both hands down to the mat. It's your option here, whether you want to step or jump back into a plank position, but find your plank position. Nice. Perfect. Okay, so finding your plank, remember option here to come to the knees if you want to, but in your plank, we're going to push back those heels, okay? Lift up through those knees, like the skin of the back of the knees is trying to touch the ceiling. Glutes are strong, core is strong, hands push down, separate those shoulder blades, really find that connection to the earth through those toes, through the hands. Okay, and then just play around with your body weight, starting to move the body weight forward and then rolling back over those toes, just moving, noticing what happens to the core. Really think about the lower abdomen really sucking in. Really nice. And then from here, come back to your plank. And then bend at the knees, find your hovered table, okay? So you're hovering in a rough tabletop position, knees are just hovering, and then send the chest back towards the thighs. Really think about that long spine, okay? Hands are pushing down. And then from here, just lift the bottom up towards the ceiling and find your first downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, we want to be walking out those heels. Take your time here. It is the first downward facing dog and it should be special. Really feel into the back of the legs, feel into the lower spine. Find that release, pedal through the heels. That's it. Nice. Okay. And then pause in your downward facing dog. Check your form. You want to look like an upside down V. So really push the hands down. Check those elbow creases. We want to wrap those triceps round. We want those elbow creases to be looking at one another. Maybe a nice deep bend in the knees allows your spine to be nice and long and your sit bones to face the ceiling. So really think about the positioning. And then from here, let's lift the right leg high. Right leg is going to come high. We're going to push through the heel. Really push that leg away. And then stack those hips one on top of the other. And then take that right foot back towards the bottom. Find that quad stretch as you stack the hips and really think about that three-legged dog. Think about pushing the hips forward, the glutes squeezing, and the right heel coming towards the right bottom, the right butt cheek. Okay, or just butt cheeks. Okay, so really thinking here about pushing those hips forward. Check in with the hands. Notice if you've rolled to one side, draw the body so it's equally being carried by the hands. And then take that right leg all the way back down again. Okay, from here, we're going to find a narrow-legged child's pose. So bring both knees as wide as the mat, sink the bottom back onto the heels, walk those fingertips forward, and then allow the chest and the forehead to melt down into the mat. Allow the heart rate to slow. If you've got space for it, you can lift through the palms so that you can then lower the chest just a little bit more, allowing you a little bit more of a stretch through the shoulders. If you've got more space, you can bring the hands together and then pass the hands over the nape of the neck to sit with the thumbs on the back of the neck there. Lots of options here. Okay, and then from here, coming out of your wide-legged child's pose, we're going to take the hands to the mat, tuck those toes, and then just hover the knees again in your table. Okay, so just hovering the knees, draw in that core, and just play around once again with your body position. So if you're moving the weight forward just a little bit, notice how your lower core has to really strengthen and engage to keep you supported. And then when you roll that body weight back just a little bit, notice what's happening. Probably gets just a little bit easier. So just playing around with that. If it's a little bit too much in the core, you can always take the knees down. Depends what you are feeling right now. And then when you're ready, send that chest back towards the thighs, float the bottom high, find your downward facing dog. Step out those heels again, really pedal through the heels. Find that stretch through the Achilles, through the calves, through the hamstrings, releasing through the lower back. And then this time on the left-hand side, we're going to take that left leg high. And then keeping those hips level to begin with, push through the heel. Check in with the hands, make sure that both hands are carrying the weight equally. And then from here, stack the hips left on right and then kick through that back foot. Back foot comes towards the bottom, push through the hips, okay? We want to really think here about activating through the glutes. We want to stretch through the quad. So really pushing forward. That right foot should be really squeezing in towards the bottom. Keep breathing, and then just a little cue here, check in with the hands. Are you rolling to one side? If you are, can you bring the weight back? And then from here, take that foot down, find your downward facing dog, pedal out those feet. Nice, okay. And then from here, coming back into a wide-legged child's pose, take the knees down to the mat as wide as they will go, sink the bottom down, take a breath here. So noticing what the body is feeling at the moment. We've worked into the hips. We've talked about foundation. So thinking here about the heaviness of the body, the connection to the earth, the shins, maybe the shoelace side of the feet, just that feeling of the mat touching the skin. And then we've got the body, the torso, the forehead starting to melt down into the mat as well. So feeling the shoulders as they begin to stretch as you're reaching forward with the hands, just finding all these lovely small differences in the way you're feeling. And then from here, spider up those fingertips. We're going to take the bottom up now. So we're going to head into puppy pose. So we want to take the bottom sitting just above the knees. We're going to walk the fingertips forward and then allow the chest to head down towards the mat. Find this really nice stretch through the spine. And then come into, so spider up those fingertips to lift through the palms, really get that deep stretch through the shoulders. And then walk those fingers over to the right hand side. See if you can draw that left hip back still, okay? So rather than rolling all the way around to the right side, by drawing that left hip back, you're going to really get this beautiful stretch down that left side. And then walk those fingers back through center and then all the way over to the left hand side, sinking that right hip down nice and firmly, seeing if you can keep yourself nice and level so you can maximize the stretch down that right side. Nice. And then walk those hands back through center. And then whilst we're here, keep those palms lifted on the right side. Left hand is going to slide under right, come in to thread the needle. So you're resting on the top of that left arm. And then maybe that right arm can lift, or maybe it comes all the way behind you to touch the top of the left thigh. Open through that right shoulder just a little bit. And then coming all the way back round, that right arm comes round, and then we're going to take it in the other direction. So left palm lifts, right arm slides underneath, come to rest on the top of that right shoulder, and then left arm can lift or tuck all the way behind. Okay. From here, wander those fingertips back out. And then we're going to stop in our puppy. And then from here, walk those hands back, have them underneath the shoulders. We're going to tuck the toes, hover the knees, and then float your bottom into your downward facing dog. Walking out those heels again, release through the hips. And then from here, we're going to take that right foot through the hands. Right foot comes through the hands. We're going to keep the back knee connected to the mat. Okay, so we're coming into our low lunge. So from here, we want to take our hands to our hips to begin with, to make sure that those hips are nice and level. And then we can take those hands high, roll in those pinky fingers towards one another. Inhale, take a lift. Find space through the waist. On the exhale, see if you can trace a line towards the back corner of the room. Really nice. Squeeze through the glutes to give you some stability through the lower back. And then bringing the hands all the way back up again. Perfect. And then from here, we're going to split the hands. Left hand comes forward, right hand comes back. Come into a twist. Lovely. And then bring it all the way back through center. And then from here, we're going to take hands to the mat, tuck the back toe, lift the back knee. So in our high lunge, push back with the back heel, really strong back leg, okay? And then keep that left hand to the mat. We're going to move that right arm all the way forward. So the heel is pushing back, the fingertips are pushing forward. Reach, reach, and reach. And then begin to float that right hand high, come into a twist here. Lifting through the right fingers up towards the ceiling, or if you've got space for it, take that right hand all the way round to touch the top of that left thigh to open up through that right shoulder. Looking good, really nice. And then from here, bring that right hand down. And then we've got both hands down to the mat. From here, take the right foot back to join the left. Find a plank pose. Get nice and strong in this position. Push back through the heels, squeeze through the glutes, engage through the core. And then take an inhale with the weight. As you do, start to move the body weight forward and then come down through your chaturanga. So starting to lower the body down and then push the hands into the mat to come into your cobra or your upward facing dog. Either is fine. Find the openness through the chest, open through that chest. Engage through that core to almost imagine bringing that core through the hands, okay? Squeezing those glutes. And then from here, we're going to push those hands down into the mat. We're going to then tuck those toes, come into your plank, and then fly the bottom high into your downward facing dog. Really nice. And then again, walking out those heels, find movement through the back. Super. Okay. And then from here, we're going to take that left foot through the hands now. Come into a low lunge on the left side. Take the hands to the hips just to start off with, drawing those hips nice and level. And then once you're happy, take those hands high, roll in those pinky fingers, take the inhale, find length, squeeze through the glutes. So as you start to draw that line towards the back corner of the room, you can find that stability for the lower back. Find that openness through the chest, start to lift through the chin, open through the throat. Really nice. And then bringing those arms all the way back. And then from here, we're going to take the right arm forward, right arm forward and left arm back, come into a twist. It's challenging enough with left and right doing it. This is almost impossible. I'm hanging in there. I hope you are. Okay, and then we're going to come back to center. Take the hands down to the mat. We're going to lift the back knee, come into a high lunge on the left side. Back heel pushes back, really push through that heel so you can lift that knee, okay? So we can feel strength through the back leg. And then we're going to start here by taking that right hand down, lifting forward with that left arm or those left fingertips and pushing back with the back heel. Find that really nice opening through the hips. And then when you're ready, take that left arm all the way up, maybe gazing up towards the ceiling. Maybe that left hand wraps all the way behind you to touch the top of that right thigh. Roll that shoulder open. Nice. All right, resetting yourself, coming all the way back round, both hands come down. And then from here, let's take both toes back to join one another, find your plank pose. Take an inhale, take the body weight forward, engage through that core, and then bend those elbows towards the back of the room, lower down. Coming through your chaturanga, then begin to bring that core through the hands to start to open through the chest. Coming into your cobra or your upward facing dog, really think about that core coming through the hands, okay? So it should be nice and solid. Glutes are squeezing. Roll those shoulders away from you to open the chest. And then from here, begin to come down. We're going to tuck the toes and then find your plank and then head back into your downward facing dog. Walk out those heels. Really nice. Okay, and then when you're ready, you can step or jump your way to the top of the mat. Beautiful. And then come into a forward fold. So allowing the body to hang nice and heavy over the top of the legs. Take that bend into the knees so that you can tilt the pelvis so that you can really feel the stretch down the back of the legs. Okay, and then from here, we're going to push through the feet. So really think about that foundation again, and then come all the way up to standing. Nice. Okay, and then from here, we're going to take those arms up, reach up out of the waist, and then sink the bottom down into your chair. So noticing that whole connection with the earth again, noticing where the weight is. We want to take the weight right back into the heels. We want to tuck under the tailbone. We want to sink the bottom down. Okay, from here, take the hands to heart center and then take a turn to the right hand side. And if you want to hook here, take that elbow to the outside of that right knee to help you twist just a little bit further. Keep taking the weight back into the heels, okay? Keep thinking about rolling that tailbone under. You're going to find more space if you do that. Looking good. Okay, we're going to then release off, come back to center, take the arms high, and then come into a forward fold. Again, allowing the head to hang nice and heavy, just swaying through the arms, just finding that release. Really nice. And then from here, stacking each vertebrae nice and slowly, finding that space as you come all the way back up to standing. And then we'll go again on the other side. So take the inhale, arms come high, really set that the weight back into the heels. So lifting up those 10 toes and then placing them down. And then from here, start to bend through the knees, engage through the core, roll that pelvis, sink a little lower, bring hands to heart center. And then take the turn to the left-hand side, drawing that right knee back in line with the left. Maybe taking the elbow bind to the outside of the left knee. Okay, and then whilst you're here, keep drawing that right knee back in line with the left, thinking about tucking that tailbone just ever so slightly is going to create more space. Taking the weight back into the heels, you should be able to lift all 10 toes. Okay, nice, nice. And then coming all the way back through center. Perfect. Take that forward fold, release out, make the movements that you might need to. Take a sway, take a movement, whatever you might need to do. Perfect. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to ask you just to take a wide-legged stance. So really take the legs as wide as the mat. And then we're going to come into a little bit of a twist. So I want you to take a forward fold. I know you're there already, but I want you to think about sending the bottom back. So finding space along the spine, find that length. And then from here, we're going to take the right hand down and lift through the left arm. Okay, so we're coming into this really nice twist. And then coming back through center, left hand comes down, right hand starts to lift. Think about pushing the bottom back. Coming back through center. And then from here, we're going to heel toe the feet in. We're going to come up through goddess. So taking those heels in, feet to about 45 degrees, tuck under that tailbone, strong through the core. And then we're going to start to bend into the knees. We want the knees and the ankles in line. We're going to take the arms up like cactus arms, and we're going to sink down. As we sink down, think here about the knees heading out, the glutes really squeezing, the hips beginning to open. And then take the inhale and begin to lift those arms high. Really squeeze as you go, and then sinking back down again. Okay, let's do another 2. Here we go. Lift. And then squeeze. Last one here, we're going to lift. And then squeeze. And then we're going to come up to the toes on the right side. And lower that down. We're going to come to the toes on the left side. We're going to lower that down, and then we're going to come up to the toes on both feet. See if you can keep yourself there, keep those arms lifted, and then tuck that tailbone, squeeze those glutes, keep your stability, core should be rock solid. And then once those legs are shaking, you can bring those feet back down. And then heel toe those feet in, and then sink down into your squat. And then find some movement here. It might feel really good to move through the hip space, or it might be feeling pretty good for you just to sit still. Do what feels good for you. So finding that space, if you need to put blocks under the bottom or under the heels, then please do. Nice. Okay, and then from here, take the hands behind you, just rock onto the bottom. Catch yourself before you fall, nice. And then we're going to head through our boat just to get down to our final Savasana. So sitting up nice and tall, engage that core. Maybe the hands come behind you. Maybe you know exactly where you're going. If you want to lift through the legs, okay, so the shins are lifting, and then take the hands alongside the shins. And then inhale, bring the thighs towards the chest, okay? So we really, really want to be not like this, but much more like this, okay? Sitting up nice and tall. All right, and then from here, we're just going to take the feet away and then engage and bring it all back together, okay? So we're just going to move the feet away and then bring it all the way back together. I'm going to count you down from 10. You can do as many or as little as you want. Take it as slow or as fast as you like, okay? But stay in control. Keep the core strong. Let's go for 10, for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. My counting's slow because I'm not doing it, I'm sorry. Okay, so from here, just roll back onto the back and then allow the shoulders to open. Take the knees down side by side, finding any adjustments that you need to make in order to release any tension that's gathered through the core or through the spine. Maybe the feet are down in your windscreen, washing those knees. Maybe you're hugging yourself together. Whatever feels good for you. And then when you're ready, walk those toes away. Find your resting place, somewhere you can relax and be entirely chilled out for the next few minutes. So find that comfortable position just for yourself. Remove any distractions. And then once you're settled, just close the eyes or soften the gaze. You're starting to turn the gaze inwards, focusing just on you. Now, that's not something we say very often, is it? Going to allow all the distractions just to melt away, and the only thing that remains is you. So today we're going to be thinking about removing any worry and just finding calm. So take a deep breath in through the nose and then release it out of the mouth. Inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 4. Or simply find your own even rhythm. Count in the breath and then count out the breath. Keep your breathing at this slow, smooth, and even pace. As you inhale, imagine that you are breathing in calmness, peace, and strength. And as you exhale, imagine that you are breathing out any worries, stress, anxiety. You know that there's nothing for you to think about right now in this present moment. And all there is to do is simply breathe. Feel the heaviness slip away with each exhale. Feel lighter with every inhale. And if your mind drifts to feelings of worry, be mindful. Notice it without judgment, and then bring your attention back to the breath, your anchor, available whenever you need it. You are strong. You are powerful. You are very capable. You can handle anything that life throws at you. Take a moment to feel that deep in your bones. Allow that calm feeling to just sit there. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. So when you're ready, beginning to bring your awareness back to the wider world, starting to move your fingertips and your toes. I invite you to think back to the intention you set yourself at the beginning of class today. Focusing in on that calm, that power, knowing that you can take that into the rest of your day. And then when you're ready, slowly begin to open up the eyes. And then slowly and carefully make your way back up to a seated position on your mat.